Welcome to Marketecture, where you can get smart fast with in-depth interviews of leading technology vendors. I am Eric Seufert, and I am here with Gadi Eliashiv, the CEO of Singular. Hey, Gadi, how are you doing?
Hey, doing well. Thanks for having me, Eric.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time here today to be with me. We are both in Austin. We could have done this in person, but we are doing this virtually over Zoom. Okay, let's talk product. What does Singular do? And I know Singular does a lot of things. It's kind of like buckets of functionality.
Yeah.
But maybe we could kind of walk through each one.
Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe I'll give you a quick background and then we'll go into these buckets. I guess, we're a platform to help companies with their measurement and analytics when it comes to marketing data. And we actually started the company observing all these very complex data challenges that companies faced. Even before we were even an MMP or we had that functionality, our vision is like, we got to solve these data problems that companies and marketing teams are facing. And as you know, it's like marketing data is the worst, super convoluted and not standardized. You can't access it all in a single place. There's a ton of APIs, or let's be honest, it's not even APIs. It's just like you get like mail pigeons or like mail reports and horrible things with spreadsheets that people type in manually. So even making sense of all that mess was the beginning. And then over time, it just evolved immensely into all the capabilities of measurement and then, all the other things around privacy and a ton of other solutions over time. And I guess today I would say it does a lot of things, but at the end of the day, we kind of draw a line at dealing with marketing data. And so I'll give you some of the bullet points of things that, we normally do. One big thing is data aggregation. And it's a big challenge because marketing data kind of sucks and it's pretty unique. Like you can't solve these things with a generic ETL. We bring the data from thousands of sources and, most customers probably use, I don't know, depending 50 sources or maybe 5 sources. They use the main ones, but there's enough variation where it adds up to like 2,000. We normalize the data, which is a big thing because on its own, you have a specific hierarchy for Facebook and a specific hierarchy for Google or LinkedIn, and it doesn't easily match. And you don't have every company reinvent the standardization of the data. We offer reporting capabilities. Like we, invested over the years a lot in the reporting. It's like super powerful. It's like a SQL pivot. You could do, group buys and selects and filters and what fields you want to run aggregations. But we also recognize we got to be friends with the BI of the internal BI. So we have a very powerful ETL, probably the strongest in the space, where any database you connect to us, we could just dump the data and we have predefined schemas. So like, hey, this is the best schema for user level data, or this is the best schema for a SCAD network. Like, don't even think about it. We will create the table for you and push it in there. So that's another aspect of what we do. We, of course, do mobile measurement in all of its meaning, and there's so much that is unpacking in mobile measurement. Our solution is also operating in a cross-device manner. And there's, other functionality that usually accompanies itself, like deep linking, smart banners, fraud prevention. Like basically there's almost like this subset of features that people look for when they do an RFP for a solution. So we definitely do all of these, do it great, invest a lot in it. And then another thing that Singular does really well is we call it data governance, but we look at the data before it's even created. Like let's say you want to launch a campaign or a creative, and we think about how would you structure the campaign or the creatives in the optimal way where we could make sure the data we're getting from the platforms, the data we're getting from our attribution, everything is going to mesh and match perfectly. And you can even add metadata on top of it. So imagine you're managing creatives and you want to say, well, this creative is this color and this concept and this character, etc. And so you can add attributes and tags and manage that. So that's kind of data governance. So that's kind of a very quick high-level overview, right? There's a lot of data capabilities, aggregation, normalization, reporting, ETL. There's attribution, fraud prevention. There's a lot of user experience features like, banners and deep links, etc. And there's data governance, kind of making sure all your data works and ties together really well.
Great. And who is your typical customer?
The typical customers, I guess, well, honestly, we have over 400 customers and it's been growing insanely fast. They're basically doubling year over year, which is amazing. And what I've seen is majority of our customers are B2C companies that have a mobile app. That's our origins. That's where we started, but we kind of deliberately called the company Singular because we wanted to capture all use cases, but it's just our origins from even our previous company was a mobile app. And that's, customers like Twitter and WB and Lyft and Zynga, but also small companies. In fact, a lot of our growth came from this sort of called mid-market. It's like, anyone who starts building an app and basically wants a solution for their growth, whether it's, spending a small amount of money and eventually growing to be the next Zynga. So that's one category, kind of mobile developers, I would say. The other category is still B2C companies, but they have other properties. It doesn't have to be a mobile app. Like, it could be Instacart or LinkedIn or Shopify or Airbnb, right? It's not just about the app. They have a website. They might not even have an app potentially, but they're still a B2C company and they have the same challenges, right? They want to acquire customers, want to make sure it's effective. They have a ton of channels. They need to solve for attribution, reporting, ETLing, etc. And then the last, I guess, customer type is B2B companies. So we even have customers like Oracle or Wix or Mixpanel that are basically a B2B company, kind of like, so Singular uses Singular, by the way, is a funny anecdote. Yeah. So we also use our own attribution for B2B and we use our reporting, etc. And B2B is very different. So the stack looks somewhat similar, but somewhat different, right? You have, a lot of other differences. You have Salesforce as the main CRM, etc. But we can even solve for that. So it's a pretty broad set. But I would say the bread and butter is B2C companies.
Mm-hmm. Great. How large of a company is a typical customer?
So honestly, especially in the last 2 years, okay, so Singular used to be just enterprise, and I'll admit, I think it was a mistake of ours. So it was amazing because we got to focus on the Kabams and Zyngas of the gaming, right? And they taught us a lot of things. And then we went to the LinkedIn and Twitter, and we learned a lot of things there. But I think that where it hurt us is that you would get to those people after they've already matured, and maybe they used other products along the way. What we've done the last few years is we just open up the floodgates, and we've seen amazing demand for companies that are just starting out small. So I would say our customers could be anywhere from really small, I just launched an app or a website, I just got some funding, or I'm running UA, or maybe I don't even want to pay for a solution yet, and I can install Singular early, and it gives me some visibility, all the way to you could be, a massive, like, in fact, if I look at kind of the world's biggest companies, a lot of them are customers. I'm pretty proud of that. So I think we have that wide range. And it's funny, our investors always warned us, the companies, it's hard for them to do the full spectrum, but it kind of works. You limit the features on the low end. They don't need every single crazy feature. And then on the high end, it's like all you can eat, basically. They want a lot of bells and whistles.
Right, yeah. And I guess the nice thing about running a company like Singular is there's not really there kind of is, but there's not really like a size threshold before someone needs this service, right? Like people need it from day one. If you're building an app, like from the very earliest days of thinking through what the company's going to look like, that you're going to need marketing attribution because marketing is the way that you grow an app, right? Like there's no real other scalable, systematic way of building a business that is a mobile app.
Exactly. And I think you said it well. Also, you said marketing attribution and not just advertising attribution, because honestly, a lot of things we do now is like referral tracking, right? Like I use Uber and I send it to my friend, or I don't know, people search on Google, they go to your website, then they open the app. Also, all of these flows are not even necessarily paid media, or like tracking someone open an email or a social share, right? Those are more like, I don't know, user experience workflows. So, but it is marketing, right? And it's part of the solution. So yeah.
Thanks for listening. To hear the complete interview, subscribe at marketecture.tv.